This is WFO Radio.
We are back. WFO Radio is back on the air talking to NHRA stars, and in this case, NHRA Drag Racing champions, father and son champions. Greg Stanfield, 5-time Superstock world champion in the Lucas Oil Series. Aaron Stanfield, 2-time Constant Aviation Factory Stock Showdown world champion, 3-time Pro Stock winner, by the way. They're both going to be joining us on this show just seconds from now. So if you're a fan of, well, how many different categories, right? Like Pro Stock and Super Stock and Stock and Top Dragster and Constant Aviation Factory Stock Showdown. These are the categories that the Stanfields compete in and win in. And you're going to love them. So share the show on your social media. Those of you watching on YouTube, hello and welcome. Love promoting the YouTube channel and appreciate all you guys out there. We're getting geared up. Had Alan Przinski yesterday. The Ignition show was awesome. Alan Reinhart was out at a NASCAR test. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from Camry Caruso at 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. So it's all happening. Be sure to click subscribe, smash the bell, enable push notifications, however you get your WFO, whether it's audio only, the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, the WFO Radio mobile app. Since I started re-promoting the WFO Radio mobile app, everyone has been asking me. They've been saying like, hey, man, what's up with that app? How do I get it? And I'm going to put it up in the chat section right now. You can get your app for iPhone or Android. But I'm very excited that we've got the Stanfields. They are seconds away. But first, let me tell you about the people who make it possible to go WFO and talk to NHRA drag racers on a regular basis, like Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, licensing courses. If you want to get your top alcohol funny car license, if you want to follow in the footsteps of guys like Austin Prock, who have gone up to the bigs and become super successful racers, Frank Hawley is where everybody gets their start because of the superior intellect of one of the 50 greatest drivers in NHRA history, Frank Hawley. And maybe you don't want to be a champion. Maybe you don't care about any of that. You just want an adrenaline rush. Well, you can get that too as part of the Dragster Adventure, where they even can set up a race, the Dragster Adventure Challenge. Now, who is this good for? It's great corporate unity building experiences in that you bring your whole team out there, you block them off for the day, and you go race against each other. How fun is that? You'll learn a lot about yourselves and each other, and you'll know who to fire. Right? The guy who can't handle losing out there, you got to get rid of him immediately unless he can sell. And that's a different story. But I'm off topic. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Matt Hartford, Keith Jones, Lake Speed, the whole team over there working hard to fit rings for people to unlock that hidden horsepower. Did you know 40% of your engine's friction comes from your piston rings? Total Seal has made them thinner, they seal better, and there will be a trackside tech talk out there in Pomona. So if you're coming out to Pomona, be ready to come by the Total Seal pit. Check out the website. You can get the podcast there, Hidden Horsepower. We've got some really interesting stuff coming up, including Dr. Neil Cantor, who is a tribologist who's going to talk about machine tools and fluids and how to keep everything sharp and cutting perfectly. All kinds of great stuff coming up on Total Seal's podcast, Hidden Horsepower. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, the next generation of engine builders and crew members and people involved in racing are coming through Samtech right now. I believe the Stanfield's got a couple of those guys. We'll ask them in a second, but if you're going to go to work on a race team, those people need to know that you know what you're doing, to trust you. And the folks at Samtech, they've got race cars, they've got great relationships. Call Brian Massengill, go to the website, samtech.edu, find out more information. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And then there's Marvin Rodak, who's slinging great coffee. This is gourmet coffee, folks. It's as simple as that. You don't have to invest your life. You don't have to invest your time. Just call Marvin, 817-924-6821. Say, hey, Marvin, Costello's talking about coffee, and I want to try it. The WFO Radio blend, the Bang the Blower blend, whatever blend you want. He'll even make a blend for you. Just give him a call, 817-924-6821, and ask him about the Habanero Endorphin Booster hot sauce. Like Costello says it's great. Is it? Or is he lying? Or making it up? Or exaggerating? Or just has bad taste? And the answer is no, no, and no. It's great. It's the best you're going to get. 817-924-6821. Been very animated here in this segment. Also, shout out to our Patreons, the VIP Listener Club that are the Patreons. Check them out, patreon.com/WFO Radio. All right. It is now time to go out to Stanfield Racing Engines and check in with father and son world champions. I don't know how many times this has happened in the past, as in They are here side by side. What's up, Stanfields? Greg and Aaron, how are you?
Doing good, Joe.
How you doing, Joe? Thanks for having us.
I'm great. I'm super excited to have you guys on at the same time because it's hard to corral you guys at any one moment. You're so busy at the racetrack all the time, whether it be Greg chasing super stock points, Aaron running all over the place, top dragster, pro stock, factory stock, showdown, and we've got you together for a little bit. Thank you both for doing this.
Sure thing.
All right. So, Aaron, let's start out with you and your Constant Aviation Factory Stock Showdown World Championship that many credit for applying the pressure to your dad to go out and like finish the deal. So give me some insight into your season, the tough aspects of the season, and ultimately sealing the deal in back-to-back seasons in Factory Showdown. Was putting some pressure on your dad part of your motivation?
I don't, we're always very competitive, but I don't know if that was, played any role in it. It's something we've all worked really hard at the shop. We started really strong at the beginning of the season, and we struggled pretty good through the middle of the season. We had some failures, and we weren't fast enough when we struggled. But we really got our heads together and worked really hard towards the end of the year in St. Louis. We were able to come out there and win the race and lock up the championship.
Yeah, and it was great to watch. But over the course of the year, it was another evolutionary year. When you look back at Factory Showdown, where we started to where we finished, you got some really big wins in there. But it seems like everybody always wants to ask about the health of the class. So as back-to-back champion, something that it's amazing to think a couple of years ago, you got your first race win, right? And now you're back-to-back champion. But give me your general state of Factory Showdown and where it's at as you look back at this season, some big race wins and, the Fords hopefully coming back at the end of the year.
I think we're going to see some Fords come around at the end of the year next year. And I think that's probably the most important piece to the puzzle. And I think when we put that all together, we're going to have something really, really cool. We just have to continue to keep all three manufacturers involved in the class. And, it's ultra competitive right now. I mean, the Dodges are getting their stuff together. All the Barton guys were super fast this year. And we had to really work for it. And I think you're going to see some really good racing this coming up year.
Well, that's great, and I certainly hope so. Greg, your side of the story, we got to share a winner circle stage at Thunder Valley, and that was a very meaningful win to you. Give me your side of the championship pressure, right? Like, we hear a lot of racers say, like, I just go out to race the first half of the year and love it, and it's fun, and then we look at the points and see where we are, and when you did that, you saw yourself in a very good position. So give us some insight into your season and when you started feeling like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, the season started out for me just to go have some fun and race with Craig and all the guys here we help. And, Aaron over here beside me, he always is pushing me to try to, chase points and do all that stuff. And won a couple races and, and Aaron's like, Dad, you need to chase the points. I'm like, Aaron, look, I've got to have more than that on the table for me to chase the points. And once we got the third win, everybody here at the shop's like, look, old man, you got to go out here and get this job done. So we started doing it. And Bristol's, I've raced there since, it's forever. Like I told you, that win at that track was special, very special. And I think that put me in a good position for the points. But there was a lot of good racers. Any racer out there at any time can win a race, and that's the hard part about the game today is when you win a race, it's you have to feel very fortunate, and we've definitely had a fortunate year last year for both of us to do what we did. So for us to hold two number ones is incredible. For us to try to do it again, I don't know if it could be done.
Has it been done ever before? Like, I can't, think of it. I don't think it has. Father-son championships. But what's impressive to me, and Aaron, I'd love for you to talk about your dad and his driving ability. Clearly, like, you learned a lot from being around him and watching him, and you joke about how competitive you guys are with each other, which is great because it drives you. But your dad stands around and watches, and he's got this real cool, laid back attitude when he's at the track. And then every once in a while, he would jump in a car and just go to the semis and go to the final. Like he's been out of it. And it seems like rust does not grow on this man, right? Like he can just jump in at any moment. What's it like watching your dad go out there, and give me your take on it, right? Is it as effortless inside Stanfield camp as it appears on the outside? Like there goes that red Camaro again, turning on wind lights.
Well, for starters, when I was a kid, I remember when he would come home from a race and, he might be struggling. This is in pro stock days. He might be struggling on the tree or something like that. And I was hard on him when I was a kid because I didn't realize how hard it was.
True words, Joe.
Until I hopped in the car. But I just remember just making hundreds of hits on the practice tree every night with him. And we were the competitiveness started, probably started for me right there, just on the practice tree. And, it just led on to where we are now. And when he's racing super stock, truly what you see is, there's no stress to him at all. He's in his mind and in my mind, I feel like he's proven everything he needs to prove for himself. And he's just truly going out there having fun and probably really racing because I want him to. And so it's just it's great. It's his ability to focus is probably one of the most untalked things in our camp is he knows how to sit down and focus. And to me, that's probably the hardest part about drag racing for anybody is the focus part. And he's got that down.
Okay. How do you do it, Greg? Like you don't have to give the championship secrets, but is it just your natural demeanor to be very laid back and kind of, this is my opinion, maybe you're freaking out on the inside, but you look so chill and take it easy. And you've won the U.S. Nationals and you've won 4 championships before this, and maybe it isn't a big deal. But when you go down there and you can drive the stripe the way you do and turn on these wind lights over and over again after not having chased points for a while, it's just very impressive. Give us some of your psychological, attitude. Like, how do you handle that? And you're laughing. Why? Why is that? Why are you laughing?
It's pure luck, Joe.
It's not pure luck, or maybe it is. You see the tickets. Maybe it is pure luck.
It's the ability to stay calm. In other words, you gotta stay calm where you can stay focused. And you have adrenaline in racing. The people, when you start losing that adrenaline, it's hard for you to really, be focused and have an ability to slow everything down where it's almost in slow motion. That's, I preach that to Aaron. I was like, when I was on, the tree was just like, the bulb was like a size of a basketball, or, things are just in slow motion. So it's just ability being focused and blocking everything out, that's going on in your life, so.
And can you get back to that place on command, Greg? Are you to a point where you are able to encapsulate your driving so well? Like you got all these cars that you've built the engines, you're tuning, you got all the guys out there that you're helping. The kid is zooming back and forth, Showdown, pro stock, proud dad wants him to do well, but owner of Stanfield Racing Engines got to keep the clients happy. And then you go get in the car and you figure out how to block it all out. Well, that's great to say, and it's easy to say, but it must be very hard to do unless it's natural.
You just got to be able to clear the mechanisms, what I call it, Joe. You take a breath and you just let it all, just slow everything down. That's just, I don't know. It's
something you can't teach that he's got.
Well, I don't know if you'd say that. I mean, it's a deal to where you just have to, really focus on the job at hand. Whatever your job is to do, and it goes back even in the pits, Joe. Everybody has their job to do, and that's just one part of the equation of winning. It takes a group of people to be able to win, and that's it's some people make it look easy, and some people they struggle with it, but it's just it's a challenge.
It is definitely a challenge. And so let's talk a little bit about where all this came from. This is now 3 generations of Stanfields. And Greg, you sent me this picture and you told me a crazy stat. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but drop the stat like about your ages here.
Well, that picture there is the same. I'm the same age as my dad. You're going to see another picture with Aaron and me. And
Yeah.
we're actually the exact same age.
Same age difference.
Yeah, in those two pics.
Okay, can you give us the numbers? Because, like, I don't know, either Aaron is a lot healthier than you were as a young person, or your dad was a lot healthier than you are now. Like, I don't know what's up.
I come across that honestly.
Right?
Yeah, we were both. My dad was 56 years old in that picture right there.
And how old are you now?
I'm 56.
Wow. Like, but the juxtaposition of that kind of crazy thing, like, that's crazy.
We have the exact spread in our age difference between my father and me and Aaron. The exact, which is scary.
So how old are you in this photograph, Aaron?
26.
26.
Yeah, you're 26. And so you were 26 in this photograph right here, Greg.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. To be fair, I was mocking you a little bit. You look fine there. You have like fine, hardworking young man right there.
I got to tell you that the old guy you're looking at holding the trophy with me, he was the driving force behind me. Straight military, hard nosed. Just he pushed for perfection. So.
Well, talk about your dad a little more. Like, get into that, because you got your brother. This is a family deal. Yeah. You mentioned the military. What was it like? Like, what are your earliest car memories, race car memories? Was this something that you were born into? Because that would be pretty early into the car culture. Or did he make a decision to go do this? Give us some insight into your dad. And he's, what is.
My dad and brother started racing back in the late 50s, racing cars. So late 50s, early 60s, that's when they really started going at it. I show Aaron some pretty cool pics of them back in the day. So, and their family was all in the military, so they fought in the wars and all that stuff. But they really loved cars and working on them and trying to make them go faster. So that's where it started. Probably when I was 12 years old, I think is when I kind of fell in love with it. And he would always, kid, go play with your buddies, and I was always like right there. No, I want to see how this transmission goes in or how this engine goes together. So, I had an interest in it at a young age. So that's where it all started with me and him.
That's great. So he was not forcing you to follow in his footsteps. He was trying to get you out of there because you were in the way, and you forced your way in.
I did the same thing with Aaron, Joe. A lot of people don't know that. I pushed him, he played a lot of sports in high school, and I pushed him to do other things than racing. And he kept coming. He just kept coming to shop. So we just, put some high standards on him for his school, his grades. And he graduated high school early, started college early, graduated college early, and here we are.
Okay.
I thought I was retiring from this stuff, and he's not going to let that happen.
I always say I really drug him back in probably deeper than he was.
Well, why, Aaron? Why? Like, okay, give us your version. And you've told this story on WFO in the past, but not with your dad sitting alongside, right? So you're this young man, and we've seen some great videos of you over the years. When your dad wins the U.S. Nationals and such, you're off to the side of the stage. Little guy watching your dad like a hero go up on the stage and hold up these trophies and conquer this incredible thing like winning Pro Stock. But, talk about those emotions. Like, everybody views their dad as a hero, but your dad is a drag racer. He's out there winning. There's this thing. And just as you're coming on, he kind of is thinking he might get out of here, right? You can't let that happen. So tell us your thoughts and strategy. How'd you make this all come together?
So growing up as a young kid watching him race Pro Stock, it would I just remember sitting up there when he would go test or race here close by home, or I used to get to go to the West Coast Swing, just sit beside the car. And I could just gather from a young age that he was a full blown machine. He did the same thing every time. The engine sounded the same. He staged the same, and I don't know. I kind of fell in love with it and knew that was something I wanted to do, but I had a lot of other things that I'd love to do whenever I was a kid playing sports. And then it led on into our later years. I was graduating high school early, and I was telling my dad I was, really interested in doing this for a living. And of course he thought I was absolutely insane. And that was around the time he was stock, getting out of pro stock and kind of slowing down, winding down a little bit and selling some equipment and engines. And well, one thing led to another, and we've, we're back in full force. We've gotten some of the equipment back he sold and all that good stuff. But I guess the main thing is we like racing as a family. I mean, it's a whole, all our customers, their family as well. So it's a major family atmosphere. So I guess my dad always raced with his dad. So it as my grandpa passed away, and I guess you might lose some drive there, or you might lose that want to go do it. So I guess maybe I kind of relit the fire in him as well as my uncle. So we're all back in it pretty hard here.
And your operation, your pit area, you say you race like a family. It's kind of interesting. Like if we created a Venn diagram of like the drag racing universe, right? Like you guys you're in pro stock with Elite as a driver. You won 3 races last year. So there's a little overlap there, but then you got great customers and clients like Craig Gaultier and Tim, who they're part of the team and they're helping out. There's kind of that coverage right there. You got David and Joe Janik, the factory stock Showdown guys, who they had a great year last year. You're tuning their cars. You've got all these clients. You've got fast cars out there. There's just so many different, like, I don't want to call them satellites, but just people and different groups that you guys are dealing with as Stanfield racing engines out there in the NHRA. And everybody that's kind of in your orbit, if you will, like seems to love it. Like it's a fun time. It's a fun experience. Talk about making that energy, like creating that atmosphere that people want to be involved. Yes, it's a business, but it's something more than a business that people are, offering to help and want to be a part of this Stanfield group.
For starters, I mean, we've got some great people around us. I mean, top of the line people, and they, they're not selfish people. They care about us and how we're doing in our racing programs as well. And they can see how much we care about their programs and how much we want them to win. And, something really cool is we've been able to help several people accomplish their lifelong dreams of winning a drag race. And that's something I know is very rewarding to me. And I'm sure to my dad is being able to help somebody accomplish that for anything that we have to offer to them. And I don't know, I think that's kind of how the atmosphere starts. You've got several different people that are willing to help people accomplish their goals, and it's a reciprocated energy, and it seemed to work really well. Everybody gets along great on our whole entire organization. So it's a blessing, and it's been a pretty cool ride.
Speaking of Craig Gaultier, he's out there. He's taking time off from fighting against the man to comment on our live feed. Not a bad family in drag racing, not a better family than the Stanfield family. Greg is truly a selfless guy, always willing to help. What most people don't know, he's dropping some dime on you guys, that the Stanfields are probably the hardest working team in drag racing, 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day, even in the off season. Yeah, what are your shop hours, guys? Let's hear the hours. I asked Greg Anderson this, and I think this tells the tale. Wake up, arrival at the shop, departure from the shop each day. Go.
A lot of gray hair, Joe.
Well, everybody in the shop's starting to get gray hair, and they all blame me because I don't have any gray hair. So they say I'm the root of the cause here. We try our best to give our guys in the shop, time. You need time away from work. But my dad and I, we, every once in a while we have something that we want to go do, and we'll go do it. There's no hour. We always say it. There's no time clock here at the shop. It's for me and him. It's whatever's got to be done. It's got to be done. So that's kind of how I grew up watching how hard he's worked for what he's got, and he's taught me that work ethic, and it's something I've lived by since I've been out of high school.
So when Reinhardt says you're sending pictures from the beach and you got the sun catcher out, those are okay. All right. Yeah, this guy, he's hanging on the beach. All right, we got a couple questions for you guys out there. And Derek wants to know, will we ever see Greg versus Aaron in factory stock? What of it, Greg? Any desire to drive one of those 9-wide supercharged factory Showdown cars in competition?
Factory X.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. Clutch guy.
That would be my goal there.
Aaron doesn't want any part of me.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
really?
I told him he kicked me out of that red car. I said, I'm not welcome in it anymore.
Joe, I really enjoy helping people race and win. That's been pretty cool to do that here lately.
All right. What about Factory X? Since it came up, everybody is super excited. In fact, I don't think I can remember a time when uniform positive attitude about a concept in this, maybe since Factory Stock Showdown, but the supercharged engines that you guys work with on a regular basis, but in 2,600 pound chassis with a Liberty 5-speed. That sounds exciting to me. Most important to me, factory dimensions on the bodies so that they are relatable. Just I'd love to hear your thoughts, both of you, on the class and how much you're going to invest in this. And can we expect to see Aaron run in this category?
The plan is for right now is for us to, for me to race in this category. And it's, this class is going to be something that we're going to fully invest in. I think it's going to be huge for the future of our business, and door car drag racing. I think it has the opportunity to be something cool. I mean, if we could get all three manufacturers involved in it, and have some good participation, you never know, it could lead to other manufacturer involvement. And, it's something really cool, really relatable. I mean, I have buddies running the same parts, same block, same heads, cylinder heads that we run on the Factory Stock Showdown that they run in their little street rods. So I guess just the fact that these manufacturers actually sell these parts, especially Chevrolet, sell these parts to regular people that aren't in drag racing necessarily. I think that's probably going to be a huge interest. I would hope a huge interest for them. So that would be my opinion.
I think it's going to be big, Joe. I'll tell you, I feel like you're going to have new racers coming, Joe, and you're going to have new engine builders involved. And I think it's going to take some time to get it off the ground. But I think if NHRA can keep their hands around it and manage it, which I feel like the rules they have in place look really good. I'd like to do a call out on Toyota, invite them to come on in here, and I would be glad to show them how to get aboard of this class and get more manufacturers involved. I think that's the big picture. I think is to get everybody involved in this and just have the manufacturers wars going after it.
If you like what Greg just said, you got to share the show. I agree. Call out Toyota, get them involved. And I think that's the goal, right? Hearing like Lonnie Grimm and those guys talk about it, it seems like they just want to keep expanding, and the formula seems awesome. And maybe it will become so popular it could evolve into something like a new pro stock or become pro stock, but we'll have to wait and see. But the combination, like, what do you know about the engines that you can share with us? Is it just a Factory Stock Showdown engine connected to a Liberty, or are they going to allow different modifications that you guys can't currently do with the stock eliminator rules, camshafts and ring positions and all of those things? What do you know as of now?
For right now, and the goal is, and I think it's a very smart goal, is to keep the engines to where if a guy's running Factory Stock and Factory X, he could say he could use a spare engine for both cars. So they want to keep the rules exactly the same from Factory Stock to Factory X. And I think, the only thing that I could see that comes to mind that might be different is motor plate. I believe we'll have to have a motor plate for a tube chassis stock car. So that will be the only difference in the engine, as far as I know. There might be we might find that we might want to try to manipulate the power curve a little bit for a 5-speed car versus an automatic. But all in all, I think the engines will be very similar from Factory Stock to Factory X. And I think that's going to be really, really big for both of them.
Do you think it's going to, and I don't want to say I don't care, because that's not true, but whenever you offer a new option, some people are going to accept that option. And so maybe someone who's running in Factory Stock Showdown for a couple of years, and I think about one of your clients, I think of it like Stephen Bell, right? Here's a guy who's a very talented racer, has had such great success in Factory Stock Showdown, and maybe he would like to run Factory X and get up and take a step up in the right direction. So that might be one less car in Factory Stock Showdown, but knowing Steven, he runs in so many different categories, he's not going to leave. But do you think it will hurt Factory Stock Showdown, or do you think it will provide a natural like flow? Hey man, I want to do that. I'll buy a Factory Stock Showdown car. Wow, this is super fun. Let's go Factory X racing.
You get it. Yep. Joe, here's what the way NHRA's platform is right now, you're allowed to run 2 classes. So I think you'll see a lot of people running multiple classes. Like Aaron, he would run 5 if they would let him. So that being said, I think, I think it's great they kept a clutch, in the Factory X and an automatic in the Factory Showdown. I think you're going to see a lot of people running multiple, classes with it. So, and also, Joe, the platform of the car is going to allow them to and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it, is an electric engine. They can get the car light enough to get that style of engine in that car to be able to run. So that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Oh, wow. It's so interesting that you bring that up, Greg, because I don't want to bring it up because I don't want people to be thinking like, oh my gosh, this is the end. And I'm pretty positive about it. I think there's going to be a place for high performance combustion engines for a long time. For gosh sakes, we're still racing horses, and those have been really antiquated for a while. And in fact, they're making more money doing it than ever before. So we'll see. But I've heard Brad Gerber told us and mentioned about Factory E, and that when the manufacturers really want that, there's going to be some place for them to be involved in NHRA. You don't seem to be like fearful or the sense of doom and dread about it. Why not?
There's still race cars. We're in the business of race cars, so there's still going to be some expertise in making those race cars work. And we've tried to structure our business to where it's not all engine building, and there's still race cars involved. That's for starters. And number 2 is, you can't ever eliminate any opportunity that somebody wants to come in drag racing. It's based off of innovation. So I think you should always encourage that. And I don't see combustion engine going away for, it's going to be a long time for that goes away.
I think we can call Elon Musk out now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, would that be the worst thing in the world if a team of Tesla engineers were trying to battle against Stanfield racing engines in a factory style category in 5 or 10 years? I don't think so, but great stuff. All right, guys, real quick. I could talk to you all day, but you got to tell me about this. It appears to be a trophy case filled with Busch beer cans. Let us know what the story is of this very significant trophy case, and there's a lot of them in there.
That's you.
Well, whenever I first started racing, I struggled. I'd be bracket racing at a local track, and I'd always get really, really close, and I could never close a deal. My uncle, he's a avid supporter of, it's Kevin Harvick, right? Yeah, Kevin Harvick and Busch. And he partakes in that a little bit. And he says, you know what you need? You need a victory bush in your ice chest. So I said, okay, well, sure enough, the first race I went to, first race I won, I stuck a victory bush in my ice chest. So it's just kind of stuck. And, it's moved on into our customers. If we see that they win, we'll make them drink a victory bush and sign it, give it to us. And that's kind of like our trophy from, for them winning in our small part of helping them accomplish it. So we slacked a little bit with it last year, but it's just kind of been a tradition for several years.
I like it so much. It's a nice way to keep the sponsors happy. You should reach out to those guys.
Yes.
Now, what about that? Let's talk pro stock, Aaron. You got so much to discuss. Everything the same? Elite going for the championship. David and Joe on board once again. Last year, you were, in the hunt, and had a kind of a weird starting line situation happen at Charlotte, which we all remember. That emotions and momentum were really affected by that moment. But it doesn't change the fact that you were in the hunt, and Greg, Erica, Aaron Stanfield pretty much over the course of the season when it came to successful performance. Give us your outlook for Pro Stock 2022. 22.
I think we were a contender the whole time last year. We had some unfortunate events for sure. And not only the start line thing, I struggled a little bit and the car struggled a little bit. I just think we peaked early. We peaked a little early last year, and it's just about keeping things consistent throughout the year. So the plan is Tim Freeman's going to be crew chief in the car again, and we're going to be running the same RJ car. Joe Janik, David Janik are going to be behind me, JC3 Energy, JD and Teresa Kaufman, and we're going to be running with Elite Motorsports. So everything's staying the same. I still think we have as a good of opportunity as everybody does, and everybody starts from zero. So we're gonna come out swinging.
Are you comfortable in this Pro Stock car now? Like when you get in the Pro Stock car, do you feel as good as you are when you get in any of your other race cars, the Top Dragster, the Showdown car, like confidence in your ability to do everything on the ragged edge of what's necessary, full comfort, as this is about to be your third full season in Pro Stock?
I think last year's showed that I was, getting pretty comfortable in the car. Everybody worked super hard on, I'm a small guy and a short guy, and it was hard to get all the pedals in the right position, all the geometry there right, and we got everything happy there, and it just all kind of clicked. So now for me, as I know I can do it, it's just a matter of that focus thing I talk about, and that is the hardest part, is being able to, Erica Jeggy, they always made it look super easy. Even he made it look super easy, but it's not easy to cut 00 lights every single time in a Pro Stock car. It's extremely hard versus any other car I've ever driven. So it's just a matter of being able to bring that energy every single time to the start line, and that's tough. So that's what I've got to continue to do.
And that's what we love Pro Stock. I love it. That's why we love Pro Stock. Okay, so Greg Stanfield was one of the very first people to put a WFO Radio sticker on his Pro Stocker, and I believe it was on the car when you won the U.S. Nationals in 2010, Greg. That's how far, like right away, you were supporting WFO Radio, and we've lasted this long. I just want to thank you for that, and I'm noticing some of the video clips of the year, the Super Stockers still got it, and I want to thank you for that, because that's like credibility for our show, and I appreciate it. Watching what you guys have done has been amazing. But the best part is it's just getting started, and the whole 3 generations of racing thing, you're going to have to change that soon. What is the outlook for probably the most important thing that's going to happen to you in the next couple of months? Right? Like the grandchild is coming, and perfect timing, like right around Pomona. Set the table for us as much as you want to, Aaron and Greg, for the arrival of the 4th generation.
We are super pumped about my first kid, baby Oakley, and of course my dad's. I would hope he's pumped up. He says he's going to spoil her and hand her back to me, but that's the next generation of Stanfield Racing. As it's coming. The plan date is the 21st, which is the Monday after Pomona. So we'll have a couple days to have a kid, and luckily I have a wonderful wife, and I'm sure she's watching, Jolie. She's pushing me to go race, and obviously I'm going to be there, when the baby's born. But I'm glad I have her support.
I got to share something with this. Hey, Joe.
Yes.
1990. I was at the I can't remember. It's Houston, the Baytown race, the Slick 50 Nationals. My daughter was born on Friday of the race, so I had to come home, and she was born, and then the whole time my wife's saying, "You need to get back down there and race." And I said, "No, I'm going to stay home." And she said, "No, you need to go, get out of here. I've got this." So I went back down and was fortunate enough to win that race tonight. So I told Aaron, I said, what's going to happen? Since history's repeating itself, you're going to get to Pomona, and you're going to get that call where you're going to have a baby on Friday. So you're going to have to get home, have the baby, and then go back. So I told him to get ready.
I think you know plenty of people with private aircraft that can get you back. And That would be such a great story. Obviously, the most important thing, let's not be crazy. The most important thing is you being with Jolie and welcoming in Oakley, and that's it, period. But I agree with the racing. Get back out there, get to Pomona and get a ceremonial win, especially since your dad already did it. And we've got all these crazy years, synergy, his dad, you, the same ages at the same times. And he just put a story out there. If that happens, Greg, wow, man, you're the Swami. We're going to put you up for lottery numbers or something.
Like I said, I'm super lucky. Julie's, she pushes me as well. So she's definitely going to want to see me out racing in Pomona one way or another. Aside from the day the baby's there, obviously I'm going to be there for that, but she's a pushing factor in making sure I'm at a race.
That's awesome. That is great. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate you giving us insight into your family and the race team and the championships and the driving and Pro Stock, Factory Showdown, Top Dragster occasionally for Aaron. Greg, you're going to run Super Stock again, but just for fun until you find yourself way up there in the points, and then everyone will pressure you to go again for number 6. Is that accurate?
I've got a schedule planned out already.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. You want to do it, Greg. Thank you again, both of you. Obviously, good luck. Tell Jolie I said hello, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, guys. It's going to be, it's coming on fast, but congratulations on winning the 2021 Lucas Oil Super Stock and Constant Aviation Factory Stock Showdown World Championship and becoming father-son world champions in the same year. Simply amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Later, guys, and have fun on the beach, Greg. There he goes. The Stanfields here on WFO Radio. How great was that? If you love Lucas Oil Series racing, Door Slammer racing, Factory Stock Showdown, and just great, the insight that they have given us on this show. If you love that kind of stuff, I've got friends who love that kind of stuff. Share the show, especially those of you on YouTube. Put it out there on your social media. Let's get some likes and comments and stars and claps and thumbs ups and all of that stuff. All right, put your comments in the comments section. Here's a comment. Look at this. Mark Caruso. Camry Caruso struggles, short people problems. They're probably working on her car to get all those linkage geometry correct as well. We will ask her tomorrow at 11 a.m. This week has been very pro stock intensive, as we had Alan Przinski on with Alan Reinhart yesterday. We have Camry Caruso, 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And we just had Aaron and Greg Stanfield, a couple of father-son pro stock action. All right, put your comments in the comments section and we will slide on out of here. But first, I want to let you know about the people who make it possible. First of all, if you want WFO gear right now, go to the merch store, WFOradio.com, click WFO store, and you can get there 35% off. 35% off hoodies and long sleeve t-shirts and whatever you want. 35% off many of the products on the WFO store at WFOradio.com. Very exciting situation right there. I love the idea that the merch store, and I don't even know when they're going to do it, but they do it, and it's great. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. I'm going to be out that way in a couple of weeks. Super excited about the preseason test out there at Wild Horse Pass. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, but really time spent with Frank. And all you Lucas Oil Series racers and even bracket racers, I know there are 20 guys that are capable of winning 7 digits when it comes to bracket racing. But the mental aspect of this, and, Greg talking about being able to put yourself in a zone where nothing else matters. Did I leave the iron on? What's going on with that engine that I'm tuning? All of these things, the more you're thinking about that stuff, the less you have a chance of winning. And Frank Hawley really, really excels in helping you create mental process for that. So you don't just have to go on the Dragster Adventure. You can reach out to frankhawley.com and set up some one-on-one training with him. We just assume that most of our listeners aren't trying to become championship race car drivers. Maybe we should change that. Samtech.edu. I should have asked the Stanfields about the Samtech guys. Well, Colliner, a couple of guys that work there and have had great success and even gone on to win races. They came out of Samtech.edu. Super excited for people to get involved in this universe that is motorsports, engine building, and even machining. Through the Hidden Horsepower podcast, I've learned a lot about the niche within motorsport that is the engine guy, the engine room, the machine shop. It's completely vital. Without the machine shop, there is no engine, no race shop. There is no race team. The machine shop guys are the guys that keep it all going. And wouldn't you love to be a part of that world, right? samtech.edu. It's hard work, but it is a career. And you wake up every day, and every day is a little different. And, you know, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Go to samtech.edu to find out more information. And then there's Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs, everything good. Call Marvin, 817-924-6821. And if you've never tried the Rodak's coffee and you're buying, you know, crystals in a vacuum bag, you're missing out, man. I went to the WFO PO box yesterday and found some great things. Normally, I solicit people to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, which means you write out your own address and you put a couple of stamps on there, and then you send it in another envelope to me at this address, P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084, and I'll just stuff some WFO stickers in there, right? But yesterday, I went over there and found some really cool stuff sent to me. First up, this Melbourne Raceway 2022 calendar sent by UK Kevin, who is, the leader of the WFO universe in the United Kingdom. But how cool is this? Nice little dragster calendar, drag racing calendar, January 2022. And I'm so impressed that they used the same calendar over there in England, right? Look at that. So thank you, UKev. That's a joke, guys. Thank you, UKev. And Bobby Graham sends me from Napa this 3D delivery truck model, right? He sends me a couple of these, one for myself and one for the Gray, my little nephew, who is now occasionally hosting on the Ignition audio only podcast. And the most important thing is Bobby Graham. A couple of years ago, I made a big joke on the air about the Bobby Graham autograph session. But now that I see his actual autograph, I'm envious. What's up with that? My autograph is terrible. This guy's got a great autograph. All right, let's see what everyone, and then the Patreons. The VIP Listener Club, we're doing a listenership drive. Join the Patreons. Yes, you got to pay money, but you get a little something. WFO stickers and a pin and a patch and a bunch of stuff sent to you. But also you get special shows, special content, special insight that only the VIP Listener Club gets. Our numbers are increasing dramatically, and it's a whole unique community. And the best thing about it, you can find it on WFOradio.com. So far, 100% positive. There's no anger. There's no, the negative stuff you find in all the other social media locations, bickering, back and forth, hatred, anger, anguish. None of that exists in the WFO universe. It's purely about racing and about what's cool and what's good and how to make things better. And where is the WFO radio universe going to meet up? Is it going to be Indy this year? Is it going to be Vegas 2? Where are we going to go? All of that stuff. Our WFO radio fantasy leagues. So far, super positive, super popular. Everybody that's in there is giving me feedback that they like it. So maybe you should join. And there's all different tiers based on what you can afford. And everybody gets the same thing, but you're helping WFO at different levels. So are you really getting the same thing? I don't know. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. And then we'll get up on out of here. Dragster Jeff, fun chat with quality guys. Thanks to Greg and Aaron. Well, the WFO sticker deal, that means Kurt Johnson was the first. Kurt Johnson had a Power Shift sticker on his car when I was at XM Satellite Radio doing NHRA Tuesdays. And Greg Stanfield was right behind. And it was such an honor to have my logo on a Pro Stock car. And the guy goes out and wins the U.S. Nationals. Just amazing. Thanks to Kurt Johnson as well. Monica, great. I got to have Kurt on. Kurt, are you out there? Kurt Johnson, calling Kurt Johnson. Monica, great interview. The guys are great. Great show, Joe. Sports and Racing is the best. It really is. Attention in the pits, guys. Attention in the pits. Not the actual pits, but the show we do for NHRA's YouTube channel, there is a 55 Chevrolet Gary Roost that you've got to see it. And if you haven't seen it, please go check out Attention to the Pits and share that out there and some of those Try 5 Facebook groups and stuff. It's one of the nicest cars I think I've ever seen. Hopefully that comes through on the video. But yes, Sportsman Racing, Lucas Oil Series Racing, big money bracket racing, guys like me this Saturday, Palm Beach International Raceway, hopefully going out with my street car and getting back on the horse and trying to go a couple of rounds in the 2005 GTO, assuming I can get tires. 2 of them have already been delivered. Will the other 2 be delivered on Thursday in time for me to get them installed? Stay tuned. That's something the Patreons get to know. Awesome show, says Mike. Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you so much. Sign on and subscribe and enable push notifications and join everything. Great show. Great guys. Thank you, Joe. Everyone says it. Troy, here's our big money bracket minute. Troy, let's see what he has to say. Do it. Thought about it every day for the last 8 months. Best day ever. Frank's the man. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School talking about it. And, this is exactly how it works. Troy is now building his own bracket car. And he is going to go out there with his Camaro, and he's going to race some big money bracket races, and he is doing it right. But he's already got the foundational education from Frank Hawley and was mocking me a little much for pushing the gas pedal down too hard in Pro versus Joe against Flying Ryan Ayler. Listen, as long as the floorboard doesn't collapse, I'm good. Nice surprises. What, being Patreon? That's the goal. You get surprises. We promise nothing and then hopefully over-deliver. Right? That is my personal motto. Under promise and over deliver. While so many people, they're over promise and under deliver. Are they racing at Gainesville? It will be my first time at that track. Asks George. George, with the Gator Nationals? Yes. The Gator Nationals will be happening in March, and the Baby Gators will be the week before. So, yes, they will be racing at Gainesville. It's going to be great if that's what you're talking about. The Stanfields Factory Stock Showdown opens their season there. So absolutely, you will see them at the Gator Nationals. Tony German, just the good stuff. Love the 55 Chevrolet. What was an insane automobile. And I always say about this sport, right? It's the pros of people with OCD, right? Like, where do the most OCD people in the world go to show how great they are at being obsessive compulsive? Where else can you showcase your talent and abilities at being OCD or having the all-direction drive? The answer is drag racing. Now, hopefully, people don't think that that's a rundown or an insult. It's not. It's just the truth. I have spoken with so many people that are actively involved in NHRA drag racing, and they admit, like, in a positive way, that OCD is an affliction. And that's why we crawl under the car and find the one nut or bolt that no one can see and chrome it, because that's what it's all about. Have you put your TA back? Absolutely not. The engine is still sitting. We got to figure out what to do with the engine on the Trans Am. But I'm lucky to have the GTO to go race Sportsman for $500. Attention to the Pits, 55, says Dave. And George says, nice, thanks. Yeah, they'll be out there. And go see the Stanfields. Go see everybody. That's the whole thing about WFO and all of these shows. The intention is that you make a connection with these guys and follow them on social media and go visit them at the race and get an autograph signed and get a picture taken. And then you're like on the team. The worst part about drag racing is that there's no more than 5 or 10 fans in any one place at once. It's not like the Chiefs, who all their fans fill their stadium and cheer all together and share the same great moment. But that can change for drag racing. Get all the Stanfield fans all together, sitting in a section around 1,000 feet, watching those guys late in the rounds. I think that's what's up, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about some of that, concepts. Like, I think of Ron Capps, for instance, who I believe is going to be relaying some information with Brian Loans later today on NHRA's page. Check that out. But he's got the fan base to tell all his fans, wear your blue on Sunday. Everybody cheer, together. It's just the nature of drag racing. The TA, weren't you getting the water pump replaced? Oh, no. The Firebird, which, we've got a 78 Trans Am, and then I've got my 98 Pontiac Firebird. That, thanks to Steps Automotive in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Oakland Park, Florida, is good to go. Water pump replaced. I've driven it many miles down the road already. It all turned out great. And in the end, it wasn't even the water pump. It was these plastic hoses that go underneath the intake manifold on the 3800 V6. But we replaced the water pump anyway. No harm in that. And now I'm back on the road and loving my little grocery getter that I put 3,000 miles on in the last 3 years. Tony, hopefully everyone will help build the sport, including some that otherwise wouldn't be able to go to a race. Absolutely. Watch parties, fan days, wear your gear on Fridays, like your John Force gear or your Steve Torrance gear, so that all your friends ask you, what is that? Whose gear is that? Why are you wearing it? What does it mean? What is that fire coming out of the car? And then you can explain. NHRA Drag Racing is the most extreme motorsport in the world, and it happens to be on this weekend. Why don't you watch? Why don't you come over and watch? That's what we need to encourage our fans to do, and I think I just did. All right, guys, the archive is wide open. Alan Przinski with Reinhardt yesterday. Check it out on YouTube. Subscribe, click the bell. And then tomorrow, Camry Caruso, 11 a.m. Going to be great. Looking forward to catching up with Camry. Until then, we'll see you next time right here. Thank you, Stanfields, on WFO.